Ferrari remains one of Formula One's most storied teams, but its recent performances have left much to be desired, especially when you consider the expectations. Once tipped to be title contenders, they've found themselves unable to even keep pace with teams like Williams, as evidenced by their underwhelming showing in Miami. Back in Maranello, there's a great deal of analysis and introspection underway, but the mood, particularly from Charles Leclerc, isn't optimistic. It seems unlikely that the upcoming upgrades to the SF25 will deliver the step forward they desperately need. This raises a critical question. Will Ferrari take decisive action to shift the narrative in their favor? And if not, what lies ahead for a team drifting further from the front? The disappointment surrounding Ferrari's form is hard to ignore, and frankly, most of the criticism feels warranted. A squad meant to challenge for victories now languishes in the midfield, appearing increasingly lost in its development direction. Early hopes suggested that the SF25 might find its stride starting from Imola, but McLaren's surge has cast doubt on those expectations. Leclerc was candid after the Miami Grand Prix, openly expressing frustration with the car's lack of pace. Even with what he described as a near-perfect qualifying lap, the best result he could manage was 8th, a position he admitted was well-deserved given the car's performance. He emphasized that the car doesn't struggle in just one type of corner. It's weak across the board. "We're in a tough spot," Leclerc confessed. "Hopefully we can turn things around quickly. The issues are obvious, but I'm not sure we've found the answers yet." Attention now turns to the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona, where a new technical directive could shift the competitive landscape. Some believe this race could mark a turning point in reining in McLaren's advantage, but the gap might simply be too large to close with one update package. While qualifying sessions remain tightly contested, the race pace tells a different story, something that used to be one of Ferrari's strengths, particularly in tire management. With just a single season remaining under the current technical regulations, Ferrari made the bold decision to pivot toward a new car concept. The move sparked debate, but team principal Fred Vasseur stood by the strategy, arguing that the current regulations still held untapped potential. Whether this gamble pays off remains to be seen, but the past is behind them now, and the focus is firmly on extracting more performance in the races ahead. Vasseur has recently shared some insight into the team's development roadmap, confirming that new parts are coming for Imola. Yet he was quick to clarify that success won't come from updates alone. It's about finding the right compromises with this car and unlocking the performance that's still buried within. Ferrari has a clear, step-by-step upgrade plan, a smaller update package for Imola, followed by a more significant one for Barcelona. The critical challenge now is integration, making sure these upgrades work cohesively on the track. Imola should, in theory, play to Ferrari's strengths more than Miami did, largely because the car struggles in slower corners. And Imola's layout is much more forgiving in that regard. But track compatibility only goes so far. If you want to be a serious contender at the front, you need a car that responds well across all types of corners. That's where McLaren's MCL60 has set the new benchmark. Interestingly, Lewis Hamilton has offered a more optimistic view of the current situation, not just for Mercedes, but for the wider competitive picture. Reflecting on his Miami weekend, he acknowledged the result didn't look great on paper, but said he felt a renewed sense of hope. "There's definitely performance in this car," he said. "Since China, something's been off. We've lost pace, not because it's gone, but because we can't access it. Once we fix that, I believe we'll be back in the fight." So, is there still hope for Ferrari and the SF25? Absolutely, but the path forward demands precision. The gap to McLaren may look intimidating, but it's not insurmountable. Let's not forget that Red Bull dominated the early races last season before tailing off as others caught up. McLaren could very well face a similar pattern, but Ferrari's challenge is greater. They're not just chasing one team. Red Bull and Mercedes are also pushing hard, both preparing substantial upgrades for the next few races. Hamilton emphasized that unlocking the car's potential will come through targeted updates. He believes once those are in place, both he and Leclerc could have the machinery to challenge the frontrunners. In the meantime, he added, we're working on everything else: processes, communication, setups. I had a better weekend than before, and I really believe that once we sort out these issues, we'll be right there fighting with Mercedes and Red Bull. I just wish it could happen sooner. I'd love to be back on the podium. However, Ferrari still has work to do beyond the car itself, particularly in terms of race strategy. In Miami, confusion reigned again. The debate over whether Leclerc should have been allowed to swap places with Hamilton grew heated, with the result being a slow and ineffective decision-making process. The delay left Hamilton stuck on worn mediums, unable to close the gap to Antonelli in 6th place. Visibly frustrated after the race, Hamilton made his feelings clear. "We needed to act earlier. We missed the window, and it cost us." As the season continues, the margin for error tightens. Whether it's through updates, cleaner execution, or simply learning to make the most of their current package, Ferrari and its rivals are racing not just against each other, but against time. Felipe Massa, on the other hand, didn't see the pit wall's call as a major misstep. Speaking on the controversial team orders during the Miami GP, the moment that drew ridicule from fans and rivals alike, the Brazilian defended the team's timing. According to him, it wasn't that long, maybe a lap and a half. When two drivers are on different strategies, the first step is to understand if the car behind is genuinely faster, or if it's just the DRS helping. That takes time, about 90 seconds in this case. Once we confirmed it, we told them to swap. In hindsight, he admits a more immediate swap might have helped, but insists they didn't have enough data to make that call right away. Still, this is Ferrari we're talking about. Every second, every choice is under the spotlight. And that's the reality heading into the next stretch of the season. Ferrari remains a team full of volatility, flashes of brilliance followed by confusion and inconsistency. The priority now isn't even managing the drivers, it's understanding the car. Until they crack the code on its behavior and performance, everything else becomes secondary. Realistically, with the title fight slipping away, they may push bigger structural decisions into 2026. But there's been a notable shift in philosophy under Frédéric Vasseur compared to the Binotto era. Former Ferrari engineer Luigi Mazzola recently pointed out the contrast. With Binotto, the mantra was, understand first. With Vasseur, it's search. They're chasing something they can't seem to find, because maybe it's just not there. Both drivers seem to share that quiet resignation. The performance is what it is, and they know it. Even when Vasseur talks about upgrades for Imola and Barcelona, he's no longer selling them as game changers. They're being downplayed, almost as if the team itself doesn't fully believe they'll deliver the turnaround fans are hoping for. So, with all this swirling around, here's the big question. Is Ferrari's development path misguided? Have they lost their way? Or is this just part of the painful journey to the top? And what about Porsche? Will their own approach suffer from the same issues? Where do you think Ferrari will finish the 2025 season? Midfield again? Or will they claw their way back to the top? Comments below. And once you're done, don't forget to click on the video that's popping up on your screen right now. And don't forget to subscribe my channel.